this shit.
Welcome to today's episode of Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have filmmaker Aaron Bratcher. Bratcher. Fumble across this for and it never fails. I will repeat it to myself 5 times to get ready. As soon as
I've been on your show before. You got it right the last time.
Still screw it up, and that's just what I do. All right,
that's great.
Aaron Bratcher, there we go. And you have last time we talked, you were talking about your movie Showdown in Yesteryear, which is a great movie and is now on streaming. So
you can find it on Tubi, Amazon Prime.
I
think pretty much anywhere you can rent a movie.
Yeah,
you will find
it. And I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the coolest things I ever got to do. Was I've got to go to a handful of premieres, and when I got to go see the one you guys did in Columbus, and had the cast in there, and got to talk to everybody and do the interviews there, that was fun. But this is a whole new movie with that we're going to be talking about that you're working on currently. Slash Squatch.
Yes, sir.
Slash Squatch. If I can say that without fumbling over it, I'll be.
I still get hung up every once in a while. I've been sitting on this title 6 years. It was like we were coming up with kind of comedy horror stuff, and we were talking about Windabro and all this stuff, and I was like, come up with more names like that. And my buddy asked me, he's like, why isn't anybody made a Slash Squatch? And I was like, yeah, that's a really good question. We have to do that. So that was 6 years ago or something. We were still in the Army working on our first movie, or that was even before I finished my first movie, Pawns of Militia. So we it's just kind of been an idea in the background, and it's been so many different kind of comedy variations. I just couldn't take it seriously, I couldn't invest with it, and it just felt like a waste of the title. She's like, I can't make a movie, has this markability and just simplicity to title. It's all there. It explains exactly what it is, just with the title. So it was just finding a story that fit that. And then, kind of while that was going on, I directed a bunch of other movies and stuff. And my entire life, I've wanted to make a creature feature, especially about the Northwest where I grew up here, Pacific Northwest near Portland, Oregon. And it was just I wanted a small town versus a big threat, Tremors or The Blob 1988 or, any of those old classic movies. So it was just kind of, suddenly just hit me all of a sudden. Nobody's done the Killer Bigfoot movie and taken it seriously, I guess, in a way that it felt like a kind of massive creature feature. And I don't feel like anybody's used the mythology or lore of this creature in a way that there's so much stuff about this coming from all these indigenous the indigenous population and especially here in Portland, Oregon. We took a ton from the Yakima tribe, and I spent a year doing research, and it turns out it's really hard to write a good Bigfoot movie, but killer Bigfoot movie, but I really think we spent the time, and it's really a character story as well. So it's 95 minutes, 100 minutes at most, action packed roller coaster ride, but at the same time, it's kind of this character study about with this ensemble piece of this community. You kind of can pick up on the things that are going on maybe in the background of the town and stuff, but you're gonna have to kind of keep a keen eye. But it's we're really going all for it, all out on it. So it's
Well, it is not gonna lie, you're like the fourth person I personally know who's made a Bigfoot movie recently. When I grew up, man, we had like three. We had Boggy Creek, we had the Sasquatch, and like Bigfoot.
It,
And then of course I found like Night of the Demon and stuff like that, which
yeah,
is so, you're like,
it's out there, which we get compared to a lot just because he uses a hatchet at part of that movie. But it was just
yeah,
like, I don't know, every Sasquatch horror film, it's like it might as well be a bear. It's just this big hairy thing, and it's just picking people off one by one, and they're basically just slasher movies. And forgive me, I've said this before, but like
yeah,
it's like slasher movies are kind of boring most of the time. It's people walking around the woods, and it looks cheap, and the Tommy, Gina, and they all get picked off one by one, and there's just not a lot going on story wise or character wise most of the time, and especially with the Sasquatch stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't know, if you ran into this thing, your entire perception of reality would change. This is a mythological creature, and in our case, it's million. It's older than time. Like it's
yeah.
this kind of Lovecraftian thing that it's been here since before us, and like if you were to run into such a mythological being, your entire perception of reality would change. You'd start to think, I don't know. I think you'd be a lot more open to things, and
Oh yeah,
so the
100%.
fact that none of these movies have ever actually dealt with like existentialism or faith or anything in any sort of way, it was just like, this is, I don't know, it's ripe to be interpreted kind of, you know,
Well, it's weird that I'm a Bigfoot junkie, going back
yeah,
to being a little kid and like in search of. And so, like, anytime a new Bigfoot movie comes out, I tend to watch it, no matter how bad they are. And then there was, you get one, you're like, wow, that's damn good. And then, they always, but it's almost always slightly original idea.
yeah,
They take the mythology a little bit, they're like, it's Bigfoot. This is in the Pacific. That's about the extent of your mythology. But, nobody gets into like the different, I guess,
I'd say
regional.
abilities as
Yeah.
well. Like
Yeah. But
it can do some things,
yeah.
and I feel like people just kind of use it as this Hulk, and it's like it might as well be a bear, like it might as well
Yeah.
be prophecy or something, like because it's just and it's like it should be able to do more than that, as well as it should be smarter than that, and
Yeah.
you also have license to make this thing a character too, and maybe
Hmm.
it's going through some things, and you can kind of see it, the wheels turning, and how it's kind of dealing with some stuff, and so it's, I don't know, like I just, yeah, I feel yeah,
Now, do you delve into the whole thing that they're like trans-dimensional beings that they can move
I
in
don't want
their
to
reality?
say too much, but yeah, there might be a little bit of something
Well,
with that.
it's so funny because as the years go by, the more and more theories come out of the Bigfoot, and I actually did an interview with cryptozoologists on another episode,
Yeah,
and we have the discussion, and I'm like, I think that the Bigfoot's real. I was like, because it's just too much. It's in too many different Native American mythology. It's in world mythology. It's all over. It's relatively the same. Yes, it's the Yeti. Yes, it's the Bigfoot. Yeah, it's the Grassman. Yeah, it's the Omak. Stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, everybody has one.
yeah,
And the sheer amount of people who've never been interacted, have never been in any way, shape, or form connected, have a Bigfoot mythology. And I'm like, that's a little, that might be something. That's something there.
yeah,
So that's where I go with the whole thing. Is
yeah.
yeah,
I'm very open to it, and like that's, this movie, like I really tried to take that, that premise of like, let's really explore, not only like, yeah, just the belief of this thing and somebody's disbelief, just pessimism in general, like, and how a person can be so turned off to everything. Again, like I don't want to spoil too much,
yeah, yeah.
but if you ran into this, it may maybe change your perception of something. Maybe you'd come out of it going, maybe there is a God or something. Like I don't know, not to say it's like a super on the nose Christian thing, but
Oh yeah.
it's, there's just, it would open you up to some things. So
You talk about people like could have been a bear, stuff like that. We discussed that too because
yeah,
everybody's like, oh, it's just a bear walking upright. I'm like, okay, you can misidentify, but you can misidentify backwards. So you could think that you're seeing a bear and you're actually seeing a Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's very true.
So this idea started 6 years ago while you were in the military.
Yeah, and it honestly, well, it's more than 6 years ago now. It's got to be because it's been 3 years developing any of it up to this point. Uh, just about, I think, because I spent a year working in like a hardware store or a paint store, uh, and which is a big part of the movie too. Just kind of doing research while I was writing it, just kind of living the life and as well as I'd just gotten out of the army and everything. So it was, yeah, I really took a lot of time spent, spent the time writing the script, and I hope everybody's responded to it in a good way. All the actors, Bill Oberst Jr., Tony Hudson, Lynn Lowry, like they all. I kind of just we shot the opening 5 minutes. Lynn Lowry, she was already in. She had reached out to me, but Bill Oberst and Tony Hudson, I put their name in the opening 5 minutes, and I sent them the script, and I told them I wrote these characters for them, and everybody responded to it, and that's kind of been that way across the board, kind of getting away with like this is a pretty massive move, destroying a whole small town, like the production value. Yeah, it's a technical nightmare to say, and we've gotten away with, we're getting so much. People are just being so generous. One, because they love the idea, but yeah, two, like when they read the script, or they seem to be impressed with just how seriously we're kind of taking it. And so I said on another show, but it's kind of Close Encounters meets Tremors or something. It's just like let's really explore this, mythology and like like just the fullest way, and like let's try to do a little something with everything that you've heard, like all the legends. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how can we just do a little bit, of all of it, the way that Close Encounters does, with like all the missing airplanes and everything. It's like everything you ever heard about in a UFO book as a kid. It's like that movie touches on every one of those things. It's like, well, because Steven Spielberg was into that, and like you were. As a kid, I was super into Sasquatch, and growing up here, I had, my Bigfoot box, and it was this like cardboard box that I'd take out to the woods with me like every day, or I'd take to school, and I had binoculars and all sorts of stupid shit, and I'd just be looking for it, wasting time looking out the trees.
It's
Somebody's property. Oh, I can see it.
I can see some big guy. What's this kid looking at
Yeah.
me for?
These kids are weird.
Kid's weird. So, but you had the whole, if you build it, they will come mentality, because you put people in the movie before you had the people in the movie.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, I'd seen performances. So, like in Tony Hudson's case, I'd seen her in this movie called Prime Risk with Leah Montgomery, and I mean, obviously, I'd seen her in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and The Uninvited, and all of her horror work. But yeah, I watched this movie called Prime Risk. She's just so like uh, tenacious and like just like incredibly likable and just smart in the movie, and it was just like this is somebody, just yeah, I was just super excited to write her role. And she really connected with it, and then same thing with Bill. I had edited another movie that he was in, and in doing so, or I edited on it, full editor, but yeah, I was working on that and kind of just fell in love with his performance. Just like, this guy's got a lot of range, and he's mostly used as kind of a villain, and it was just like I want to use him in a way that we can really like push this character's humanity, like because he's got this depth to him, and that's kind of what I was looking for with everyone. As fast as the movie's going to move, it's like the times that you do get with people, it's like it has to matter, it has to resonate, and you need to believe it in order for the horror to really function. It's like you should love all these characters, really, you know, not want them to die. So, yeah.
did you have second like choices just in case?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have some, yeah, I know a lot of people in the
Yeah,
industry,
it's one of the
within
ones where just in case.
yeah, within the horror genre. It's like, okay, like this person could easily do it, but like yeah, first choices for those guys, and yeah, they're gonna kill it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to write, and then if you get people in mind, and then you have to move on to somebody else, you're just like, I guess they'll do.
Mm.
So, you know, so you said you have a whole town that you're using that.
Yeah, so the way we're going to shoot it, so we're shooting a lot of this in New York just because one of the producers has some properties and stuff like that, but as well as we've just had I've shot most of my movies, actually all my movies on the East Coast, besides some pickups and stuff that I've done in Portland, in Vancouver, Washington here, but yeah, all my movies have been shot on the East Coast, and it's just there's so much less of an infrastructure for film. You can kind of get away with so much more, and also, if you have a story that people like, it's like you can, people just will get into it and kind of just give you stuff, and we're giving, like, a lot of people are getting killed in the movie for like, yeah, I'll give you this location for almost nothing. You got to pay my staff or whatever, but like you got to kill me in the movie. And so we're getting a lot of that, but that works out great. We got to kill like 50 people in this movie. Like, it's a full town, disaster. So yeah, we've Main Street in a small town. We have big scenes with cars swerving and going through storefronts. It's a
Damn.
proper, yeah, it's a proper creature feature.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, like,
But yeah, so sorry, just to finish that. Yeah, a lot of it will be shot in a lot of small towns around the Northwest, though, just to give it the proper look. It taking place in the Pacific Northwest, we're shooting so much of it on the East Coast, but a lot of the exterior wilderness stuff will be shot here, as well as like mountain plate photography, just to comp into the background.
oh yeah.
It always has that scale of like, okay, this really feels like this land of giants. And the movie's in a taller, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, just so we can fit Sasquatch top to bottom by the end. When you do finally see some of it, it's gonna be, we have to kind of film it in a unique, interesting way. Just there's so many themes about looking at it and things in the movie, and maybe I think Alien kind of has a lot of the best example of how to photograph.
Yeah, just little bits and pieces till the full monster shows up at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that being said, you're going to see this thing do a lot, so we have to. It's been a very intricate storyboarding sequence. Just even in the script, I remember writing like it's out of focus, walking through the shot, like seen through the windows, so everything's about obscuring it or shooting it through broken glass or puddles of blood and everything, and it should it should have a sort of gravitas and a weight to it.
Yes,
it's supposed to actually be scary, and as well as the way it's going to look. It shouldn't look like any Sasquatch you've seen before in the
well,
film.
you're shooting, a lower budget movie. You said you've been able to get in town. You're crashing cars in the buildings and storefronts.
That's a lot of ingenuity and stuff too.
Oh,
It's not, we're not crashing into a real building. You kind of build the front half, but and I'm not going to give away all the secrets of the sauce here. But like,
okay,
you can do a lot on a farm. If you work construction, then you can learn how to do some things.
Yeah.
And get some people that know their way around a hammer. You can build a lot.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is though, is you get a small enough town that has like nobody downtown, and they're like, this building's crash into it, man.
Yeah.
I literally think that's why so many people film in Cleveland. They're just like, it's Cleveland, just do whatever.
Yeah. Is that where Superman's shooting, or is that in?
That's where it was shooting. They shot at the Hall of Justice down in Cincinnati, the train station. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like the Hall of Justice. That's where they got the design for it, from that train station. But they filmed that there, and it's bad because I'm not gonna lie, I joke around so much about the fact that I dislike Cleveland, but that's why I give it crap all the time. But you could destroy Cleveland and no one ever really notice.
Yeah.
Same with parts of Detroit, but I like Detroit. But
yeah, Transformers 3 did a wonderful job with that.
Well, they
a lot of that's Chicago, but they filmed a lot of that Chicago sequence in Detroit. Just like, oh, we can put a train through the side of a building. Nobody's gonna care. Cool.
Yeah, see that's one of the things about independent filmmaking is just figuring out logistics, finding people who are into it that can build, and it will do it for, like you said, to be in the movie, to like, okay, I'll do this, but you got to kill me in it. And you know, it's being able to take something and go, okay, well, this would cost us a ton of money, but
Yeah.
you want to be in a movie? Do you want to? We can kill you on film, and they'd be like, yeah, well, then let us do this for free. Then, okay. It's like,
And like the hope is to take it seriously enough that we can kind of have something that sticks around a little bit here. It's like there isn't the quintessential Sasquatch one. Like it kind of doesn't exist. There isn't the horror one that everybody goes, "Hey, what's the good killer Bigfoot movie?" And it's just like, well, we got the title. If we pull off a halfway decent movie, I think we could kind of fill that gap. But like the hope is to go all the way forward. It's like, no, this is a very serious horror film. Like the horror should be effective. Hope. And it's not like a large issue I have with a lot of indie horror these days. It's the sincerity. It's like death is not treated with any sort of weight or impact, and it's like, no, death is not funny. Like with the horror is not funny. Sasquatch is not funny. It's like, and it's all going to be treated with such brutal realism, but also with these kind of characters that you should hopefully deeply care about. And so then you tie that together in a plot that just runs 100 miles an hour within like a 12-hour time limit and or period. And yeah, the hope is we'll have something really compelling that hopefully audiences want more of.
yeah, because
the hope is more killer Bigfoot, like
well,
bring it back.
yeah, I mean, I picked up, what was it, Bigfoot Wars, which is not good, and Feed the Gods, where these people were worshiping Bigfoots as gods in a small, like, Pacific Northwest town, and which could have been great,
Yeah,
but it was like, it was so lacking. It had a great premise, but just like kind of fell flat. And
gotcha.
you unfortunately you get that with a lot of the Bigfoot movies I've seen over the years. So yeah, or they get the ones that just use the name only, like Boggy Creek. There was just a Boggy Creek movie that had nothing to do with anything Boggy Creek and fell flat. So
Yeah, the hope is we live up to the title and more so. It's hopefully a movie that people will kind of kind of resonate with them, and they'll kind of engage with in a kind of deeper level than you're normally kind of allowed to with, we'll say, just horror lately. I just haven't seen anything really try to well, I mean, aside from like what everything A24 is doing, stuff like that, but like indie horror, like it's, if you were to think this out the proper way and we can kind of engineer it, it's like everything
yeah,
I wrote into the script I had an idea of how to do, just with like, that's why it took a year to write. Like I got to do this giant sequence with all these people upside down and they're getting picked off in certain ways, and the most horrifying yet complicated ways I can come up with. But it also needs to be shot in a way that's we'll say not chaste, but leaves a lot of horror to your
your
imagination.
imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, as well. I think it's a lot more effective a lot of the time. It's,
Well,
when you can watch somebody's head get crushed like a grape, it's like, oh, that looked real, great effect. But when you watch that happen for a minute and a half straight and it finally squashes, it's just like, all right, like you would have got more impact if you would have started that crush and then cut away to somebody else's reaction to it as well. People's reaction to horror, I feel, is a very important thing that I don't see a lot of. Like you used to see that in '80s movies all the
oh
time.
yeah.
Like this wonderful shot of somebody just screaming, and maybe the camera dollies in after some horrific moment, and it's just like, yeah, you don't have to see it; you can feel it. Especially if these people's relationship, you get an actor that can carry that performance. It's like,
They did something similar to this, because I just saw this the other. I think it's a movie called Curse of the Mummy. Um, maybe not. Maybe it's no. It's the one with Christopher Lee. So it's just the Mummy, the Hammer film. The mummy crushes the guy's head, but it's all you just see the woman go, oh, and she turns, and you just see the mummy like step down and continue walking, and you're like, that worked a lot better than him going like this and crushing it, because just the woman startled off to
yeah.
the side. and makes that scene work. So,
Yep.
and yet again, done on a, it didn't cost nothing because you didn't have to make the guy's head explode.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a gory movie.
Oh yeah,
It's supposed to be shown in a way that I guess is thematically like it's not. You're not going to be gawking at anything just for like, isn't that cool that happened to that person? It's like it's supposed to be kind of like, oh my god, like uh, yeah. So
now did your Bigfoot um did you cast the Bigfoot first and then get the costume, or did you get somebody to fill the costume?
it's a couple of different people playing. So
Okay.
the costumes engineered in a different way because it has to be able to do a lot of things. So it's a few different costumes, few different pieces to put it all together. But yeah, it can do kind of a lot. So we were, yeah, it had to be engineered in a different way, and certain actors have to wear it to do certain things because some people are trained to do, certain things. So I'm sorry, I have to talk about this the most like cryptic way possible.
Yeah. I get. Do you legit have? I mean,
Cryptid way possible.
most cryptic. Do you legit have like big people playing Bigfoot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's supposed to be. I'll give it. It's supposed to be like 9 feet tall, so it's a lot of trick. Every shot with this thing,
Shoot
some
up.
sort of trick shot. Yeah, with a telephoto lens, or how we're placing it in the frame just to make it feel so massive because it's supposed to be this kind of I don't know, just massive threat. I don't know if I have. Well, I have the actual original painting. I showed this on another show, so sorry. But so the poster is
that we can't see.
yeah.
You got a blurred.
Can I get it? No.
There
Yeah.
it goes.
So the poster, I painted and then took into Photoshop, and so because I just needed like an '80s hand painted look, but like how large it is above the town, it's a little allegorical or whatever, but it needs to have that weight. Where it's, like the shark on the Jaws poster is not that big in the movie, but that's the scale that the movie is at. It's this giant adventure,
Yeah.
or the graboid on the Tremors cover. It's just the tentacle, but it's huge.
Yeah. Well, it's the it fools your brain.
Yeah.
It's because people, what was it? People will look at stuff in film and it won't look right because everything looks smaller. They had the problem with Cloverfield, the Statue of Liberty's head when it crashes.
Yeah.
They doubled the size because when they showed an actual full scale Statue of Liberty head, everybody goes, "Oh, it looks small. That's small. That's too small." And he's like, "That's what the Statue of Liberty's head actually is," and so they had to double it. Yeah. And because it doesn't look proper on film.
We talked about that for our Showdown on Yesteryear thing. I was like, there's a pile of sticks, and it's literally like 300 sticks that we sat there whittling because we put 50 there, and it was like, that looks like absolutely nothing. So you always have to go so much.
Yeah.
So, more blood, more, we just did this crazy Western. And there's a big giant bunch of peanut gags in it, and it was just we constantly need peanuts, and it was just like, oh, like 100 peanuts is like we need. So we were buying like 50-pound bags of peanuts and stuff like every day, like just more peanuts. So it doesn't look like enough.
Yeah, it's just so weird how film works in that way, because if you were to show real life does not look right in film. It looks fake. And it's one of the things with like documentaries and stuff, like when they show like autopsies and stuff, people get distracted. It doesn't look real because we're so used to, the way it does in movies with the guts and everything else like that. So when you actually show something the way it should look, it doesn't look right. But it's weird. But and we all know that if you see Bigfoot, he's not really knife. Yeah. So we got to make him look bigger on film. So far you've got the cast. You've got some good actors so far that you've talked about. Do you have any other people connected with it? Maybe some.
I'm trying to think who I can really talk about at this stage. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of little familiar faces. I wouldn't say there's too many cameos or anything. Nothing that'll distract from, the story. It's supposed to function. You know, that's the primary function of it. Is like if this is just supposed to be a ride that hopefully is relatable. But I don't know. It's kind of all a story first. But yeah, I mean, it's an ensemble piece. There's like 12 main characters. Sort of. I mean, you're kind of following three for most of it, and it's kind of thematic thing going through all of the characters, kind of see how everybody's dealing with the same thing. I think John Carpenter's The Fog has a really good, like the way that kind of functions as an
Okay,
ensemble
so
piece.
you have the small groups, and then they only come together at the very, very, very end. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And kind of reverse engineering that. It was like, oh, you can make like a huge B movie for if you just, you kind of keep characters to 2 to 3 locations, and you can have a lot of characters. It actually gets cheaper a little bit if you use more locations. Who knew? So it's like you can make a movie feel huge and you shoot less in each location that way too. And so it's like if you kind of worked out a plot that moves, the way this one does, and kind of I don't know, just rip roars through it. Like you can make it feel like you've really made a massive, disaster film. But it's like, yeah, we kind of, had less than 200 grand.
See, that's what's amazing about being able to just do that, because you can make it look like you said, a massive movie with a huge cast, and if you really look at it, you've got 3 people on a set at any given time. You can shoot all their scenes. The only time you need to do is bring them together for like a 1-day shoot, have
Yeah.
that very end of the thing, and done.
Yeah, which I'm not really looking forward to that one because that's our Main Street stuff too. So it's like everybody meets there, and it's like, oh, we got cop cars, so many different effects and extras and all this crap going on, as well as that's when the cast all meets. I knew it when I wrote it. I was like, this one's daunting. I was like, well, like that's the scene though. Like that's gonna be the way to, that's the scale we're dealing with. So
Now when you said this started to come fruition back years ago. Uh, how long did you work on this script itself?
yeah, about a year, I think.
About a year.
Yeah, because I mean, while I was doing all that too, like storyboarding a lot of it, and really planning out how it's going to be shot. Because it, like I was saying, like if they were trying to make this in Hollywood, they'd probably slash the budget. Like, okay, yeah, like you're going to need 20 million. Like, we're going to give you 1 to 5, and then every cool action sequence we get pulled out of it. And it was just like, no, that's the purpose of this movie. It's like the Spielbergian action sequence where you kind of show an environment, you get to know the geography of it, relatively well, and then you re-explore it with the characters in peril, and you kind of use every part of the environment as part of the story. And so then it's, like I think the Jurassic Park kitchen sequence, or any kind of Spielberg horror sequence, it's normally uses the environment in such a just clever way, just like a T-Rex flipping over the truck, and like the kids are stuck underneath the seat, and I don't know, everything about it. So and just kind of using the environment. So it's like 90 or 100-page script, but we're trying to shoot for 60 days. It's like, no, we're shooting like the most complicated stuff for not a lot of money, and yeah, but it's gonna look, it's hopefully gonna look like a real movie. So
We were talking before we started recording.
Oh, sorry, I didn't show you storyboards. It's just the opening scene. Yeah, so there's
Okay.
stuff that's so complicated that it's just like, oh, it has to be filled out ahead of the time, and there's so many effects. I mean, every scene's it kind of operates by that like 10-minute. It's like, okay, every 10 minutes you need some big set piece to like kind of reset it and keep the characters on their toes. And so yeah, there's pretty much constant practical special effects, and like, oh, they have to cave in this wall, and we need flames, or pyrotechnics, or this or that. Yeah, but it's everything I've ever wanted to play. It's like the sandbox here.
You get to play with all your toys in this movie.
Yeah, it's a lifelong dream.
Yeah, before we started recording, we were talking about you have the budget to film the movie. You're now raising money for the special effects, and
just anything extra we can get. So it's like saying what we were saying about like the way some of the stuff has to be kind of chased in the way that we're going to show the violence. It's like a lot of that's out of necessity for the story and kind of just the way I feel about violence in film, but as well as like it's a lot. It's to hide a lot of It's like, all right, well that's really a foam head with something sculpted over it. And we're crushing it in a way, and it's like you're supposed to kind of see it in shadow, so it's more of an impression. But if we can raise more money, and get a lot more cooler stuff, it's like, well, we might show a little bit more of it. Sorry, I'm making it sound like we're not going to have cool effects. It's like it's cool effects the entire way. All the kills.
You got cool effects, but you want to just be able to go boom. You want to bump it up to 11. You're at 10 now. You want to bump it up to 11. There you go.
Yes.
So, who's doing your special effects?
So we have it's a bunch of people. It's a lot of kind of recent graduates of like Savini School in Pennsylvania and stuff, kind of just doing the everyday, as well as just people that we've kind of acquired over years of making movies on the East Coast. So it's just like, hey, somebody can come out here with a popsicle stick and Vaseline and they can get done what I need, So it's just a lot of really ingenuitive, creative people, for the most part, as well as Ravenous Effects Studios here in Portland, or CK's Ravenous Effects Studios. They've done shows like Grimm, and she works on everything. There's tons of creature suits and stuff, and so they will be building the actual Sasquatch costumes, we'll say, and the various things that need to be built for that, as well as some various other effects. But yeah, it's. And then, we're going to have certain people come in to do certain effects. We're just, something super complicated and somebody has to be torn in half or something in a certain way. And, we need somebody to come in to build the certain string cheese kind of, or, pizza cheese kind of look I need for a certain thing. Yeah.
Do that. The Dawn of the Dead effect, or Day of the Dead, where they're pulling the guy apart and he's like stretching. Yeah, that's always great. Except for knowing full well that it's actual real meat in there. It's rotting.
Yeah, we might do some of that too. We're like, that was going to look better than real intestines. Like, yeah, they're cheap too.
Yeah, well, it's the whole thing. We talk about Spielberg, and technically he did not direct the movie. He was the producer. Poltergeist. Yeah. Everybody still brings up to this day, oh, those are real skeletons. I'm like, you do know that almost every movie has real skeletons in them because they're cheaper to rent than it is to buy or make a fake skeleton.
Yeah. Especially up to, what is it, 85? I'm sure you know the Return of the Living Dead thing.
Yeah.
All skeletons come from India, and then that suddenly stopped afterwards. And so, yeah, it's like every movie had a real skeleton in it.
Oh, yeah.
Those ones just look exceptionally haunting. And I think they're trying to cover up maybe the fact that the actress was scared to get in the water because there was lights everywhere, cords running, and she thought she was going to be electrocuted, I think. But Spielberg got in the water with her and stuff.
Oh, yeah. But it is the whole thing is that real looks, I mean, as we just talked about earlier about how real doesn't look real, but real does look real when it comes to effects, because you can, guts look like guts.
Yeah, I was like, even something that's not convincing fully, it's like it's still tangible.
Yeah,
and it's, if you can see, I've said this 100 times, I'm sorry again, but it's like if the allegorical and literal frayed cardboard edges of this movie and how we're going to do, a lot of the miniatures and just the different effects and stuff that we have to do to pull off a movie of this scale, it's like, even if something wasn't fully convincing, it's like, I think your brain accepts it, which they will be convincing. It's like we're spending a lot of time planning it out, but even if something's not fully convincing, it's like your brain accepts that easier than a simulation on the computer where you can just, it's off and it's not tangible whatsoever because you have nothing to even, if you can see the fingerprints in the clay, it's like, that that's real,
Yeah.
It photographs in real light, and you know what to go off of. So,
when you do the digital effects, though, and this is something I've noticed a lot, and it always bothers me still to this day, is eye contact, the looking of people. When you have the CGI monster and they're supposed to be looking like it's here, and yet their field of vision is like here.
Yeah.
You're like, you couldn't have put the ball on the stick and have them stare at the ball at the stick. You know?
Well, and that might just come down to the whole reason CGI is so prevalent these days. I think anyway, it's just kind of laziness. I think it's just we don't want to figure that out or have to photograph Sasquatch in a certain way due to the limitations of the costume and it needs to do all these things, or uh yeah, whatever it is. Like limitations are your kind of best asset. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we don't have money to show it. Okay, so we have to come up with something more creative and maybe we'll push the story in a more interesting direction than it would have else otherwise. It's like I find that movies now one are far more forgettable. Maybe that's the way they're shot and stuff. It's kind of like television as well, but it might also be it's they don't really feel like they take place in like good locations anymore, if that makes sense. Place movies just kind of take places in rooms. Two characters kind of walk up. Everything's kind of shallow depth of field, like my little Zoom thing here, and they talk and then they leave, and it was like, oh, that was some lobby with white windows. Like everything's just that. And there's kind of extras walking in the background, and it's just like nobody's using the environments in ways that they used to, where it was like, not to constantly just bring up Spielberg, but like, you know, the characters would move around the conversation in a way that was blocked out, also made sense from a character perspective, and push their characters along, where it's just, some piece of direction, some innate, small little action they're doing, but it's telling more of the story, trying to open up something and they can't get it figured out, but it's actually showing their frustration with the conversation or what the person's bringing them to. And it's not really about the popsicle. They can't. No. Frustrated at this person. And so, like, I feel like just a lot of that kind of maybe direction's missing from things, and they're not using physical locations in a way that they used to. And that's down to, okay, it's easier to set up, two camera setup. We're going to do two overs and and it's like, hey, I'm so guilty of that. I shoot movies, I've shot a lot of movies very fast. I've shot a lot of movies very fast. And that's kind of where you get pinned down to. It's okay, these actors, the blocking is you walk in, you say something, we'll give you one piece of, action that kind of tells the story in a bigger way, but then the guy needs to walk away, and that's the scene. Shoot like 4 shots, get out of here, because that's all we were limited to. It's like this movie, we have the time a little bit more. It's like, no, like these dialogue beats, they need to feel important, planned out, and a little bit more artful. As well as, sorry, that got into the laziness thing, but that was mainly about the CGI. Yeah, it's a lack of just wanting to film things on the set. It was like, hey, that's the purpose of cinema. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but like we started all this, like the first things ever photographed on a camera were the things crashing into each other, like people riding horses, and trains, and crashes, and like guns shooting. It's like we've known what this was about from the beginning.
Day one, great train robbery. That was
yeah. It's like you're supposed to film real things, and like I don't know the insistence these days, like we'll just replace it all later, it'll look prettier. It's like, no, it won't actually.
We'll get it in post.
Yeah. When you're on set and you're filming something, sure, you might have a plan or you storyboard it out to the nth degree, but like you get there and you go, oh, there's this church back here, and if we move the camera 6 feet to the right and put it on a different lens, like all of a sudden there's this thing in the background that we couldn't have planned for, and maybe it has some sort of significance to the character or to the story, so I don't know. You can find such things, such magic on set, and that spontaneity that can be found. And I don't know. I feel like everything's just such a rush to get done these days. It's a lot like television.
Yeah, it will. You're not. A lot of these guys knock out a movie in. I just did an interview with Jim Wynorski. He talks about knocking out 2 movies in 5 days.
Yeah, kind of a personal hero in a few ways.
And he talks about when he filmed one of my favorite movies, Deathstalker 2.
Yeah.
He goes to the set and he's like, I found a wrestling ring in the woods. And he goes, so I call up Roger Corman. I go, I need a big burly female wrestler. And Roger was like, well, I that's not in the movie. And he said, it is now. Because he found that on there. And it was like, hey, it's fortuitous. You got this little thing. You can add something to it. And I think that's a lot is when you use physical locations, when you you're actually there. You can interact with the background. You can interact with the foreground. You can, your shadow and light all works out. It doesn't look off. And I've been lucky enough that I've been on a couple movie sets, and we've got lucky, and they're like, hell, this is over here. Let's use that too. This is over here. So we use stuff that just happened to be there,
Yeah, and that's
and it
the
was
best
free.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you find that's happening on this already. Where it's just like, oh, we're shooting here. It's like, hey, they have this little thing with all these buses on it. I guess we're adding a bus destruction scene. Like, like, yeah. So that's the best. And when you build a movie in a computer, you don't get that.
I'm a very much an old school. Don't get me wrong. I love my sci-fi, Star Wars, and shit like that. But I'm also a guy that's practical effects. I like to actually see the monster there. When you
Yeah.
don't know the monster's there, it feels weird. When they're not actually on a set. They're well, not on. I guess not. When they're just on a set and not a green screen, and it just doesn't feel or flow naturally. I don't feel like it does.
No.
So, and I think that's
It pulls from the weight of everything. I think it pulls from the weight of the performances. I think it pulls from the weight of the way we receive the movies. And again, it doesn't feel like they're in real locations. It feels like they're just in like blurry environments, like the one I'm in right now. And it just doesn't. You don't feel like scenes matter to me, at least. And most of the time, I find they don't. Movies cost so much to make. I think they're sanding off all the hard edges before they put them out. And it's like, those hard edges is actually what made people care about movies. Like the best movies were made in the 70s and like the 90s. People were trying,
Yeah, I mean, people go, oh, well, look how good the special effects look in Jurassic Park. I'm like, you do know some of that is just a giant mechanical dinosaur that's on set.
Yeah.
Yes, it's CGI over here, but that's a real, I would say real dinosaur, but it's a real big robot
that's
dinosaur.
That's as close to a real dinosaur as we can
Close you're
get.
ever going to get. and I think that's what worked on Showdown. You guys filmed in a real old West town here in Ohio, which is just weird to me. That
I've just shot another movie there. Yeah, I did it again, and even in a shorter amount of time. So yeah, Showdown was even harder than that second one. Somehow, I don't know how, but that movie was shot in 18 days there, and we just shot a movie called The Wild Western there with Perry Caravello and a few other comedians. And, it's pretty darn wacky. It'll be out sometime next spring, I think. But that's I don't know. I'm so in love with photography and videography, and when I'm not making movies, writing them, or working in hardware stores or construction to learn how to make my movie better, and to survive. But when I'm not doing that, I'm a freelance videographer, and that's also what I did in the Army, as a combat photographer, videographer. So I just love photography, videography so much, and it's like I cannot be angry if I'm looking through my prism, of capturing things. It's like that's the best. And so when I just see this, you spent $200 million making this, you couldn't film a real tree. Like I was watching Elvis, and there's this shot, his car pulls up and he stands up out of the car, and there's CGI trees in the background, and half the shot's the top of the car. He's about my size of the frame, and the entire sky is CG with CGI trees. And it's like you couldn't go out to the parking lot and get that shot. Like, I don't like. Yeah, I don't. Maybe that comes with Austin Butler. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a hard schedule with him. He was doing Dune and things. Busy guy. So maybe you can't get him, and maybe you only have palm trees. I don't know. Somewhere on this back lot, there's an oak tree. There's some sort of tree.
It didn't stop. It didn't stop Halloween, and it didn't stop Community. Community's supposed to take place in Colorado, and there's palm trees in the background. And if you shoot Halloween, and if you look real good, it's definitely not Illinois.
100%.
Yeah, and it is. You're right. They CGI the silliest things that literally would have taken just moments, and they got to pay a guy to go in there and put CGI and a CGI sky. When all it would take is like, hey, dude, let's go here. We're going to shoot the scene. It'll take 15 minutes. Just get out of the car.
You don't
Okay.
even say it. He just stands up, looks, and goes, huh, and then
Oh.
walks out of the frame. Like, why did you have to CGI it? Like, I don't. Yeah.
You know, I can kind of understand if it was like, if the scene was completely botched or something bad happened, you know, like that something in the background that you had to take out. I
Yeah.
could
Oh,
see
that
that.
happens. I get that. And so I'm not going to act like some sort of purist. It's like there's going to be some visual effects. There's, like I said, there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of compositing with the mountains and replacing skylines with practical photography that I'm filming in the Northwest, as well as, kind of matte paint. Well, there'll be actual real matte paintings in the movie, physical matte paintings that are hand painted. Just in a few spots where you need to, it needs to have that kind of feel, but hopefully it won't draw too much attention to itself. But there's kind of those moments, but a lot of it's like real photography now. So it's like, okay, we're filming this in New York, but up to this point of the cliff is real, and then the other half of the frame is an organ, and I had to film that, match up the daylight, and so there's a lot being done with the computer, but it's all how can I do this tangibly, and
It's
pre-thought out.
Oh yeah, it's not using the computer as a crutch. It's using it as a lack of a better term. It's putting seasoning on your already done steak.
Yeah.
You got a perfectly good steak, but we're just going to tweak it a little bit more. And there we go. We got seasoned.
Yeah. So like, there's gonna be some visual stuff, and then definitely paint outs, dude. All those you've seen Showdown, the Wild Western. I'm already seeing them. It's like there's Showdown had thousands of visual effects just because every shot it was like, oh, there's an extension cord back there. Oh, like
take it out.
It takes place in the 1800s. You don't get away with it, just a car in the background because you're filming in an amusement park and there's a parking lot, and you can't even film this side of the town, or over here there's bleachers. So like there was a lot of we have to like fill in this part of the frame. Especially when you shoot a movie in 13 to 18 days, it's like you're gonna miss some things. Yeah.
Yeah. Look. They screw it up all the time. Pirates of the Caribbean. You see the guy wearing
but you watch Star Wars or Game of Thrones, and you get the same little issues.
You get the was it Starbucks cup sitting on a table.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go erase that out. That's good. See, that's what I like. My wife is the photographer in the family. She's really good, but she also does very little digital editing because it doesn't look natural enough. But if you're just like tweaking out, like, oh, okay, look, there's something slightly in the background, she'll just like edit that, tweak this, tweak that, but everything else is 100% real. Just taking that pen and erasing that. So it'd be like this, be like, okay, we're going to take this Hot Wheel land out of the focus here.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what we got going on here, and it doesn't work great, as we've seen.
I've never even bothered with it. I'm like, if you've watched my show, you know that all the crap is on behind me, and
that looks great. It matches what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in Slash Squatch. You'll watch the opening 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. And do you mind if I edit that like at the end of my show?
Put it in.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Put that in. There's a little 30-second trailer on my YouTube as well. I can send you some stuff or whatever you need. But
yeah. That'll work. I'll put it in at the end when I because this will probably. I have one interview Sunday. I got a couple little things, but I'll work on this Sunday evening, edit it, and have it ready for Monday morning. So
beautiful.
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, my computer's working right. Nothing like trying to figure out why your computer just crashed and not working right for like a month, and you just don't have time to work on it. And all of a sudden, I had time last Sunday, and I was like, "Oh, now it's working fine, sweet."
Yeah.
But you're doing this. What did you say? 18 to 20 days.
Shooting it?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's like 60 and more.
60.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, it's so complicated. It's like we're taking more time than we've ever had on Aaon, just because it's like, no, we're filming these sequences that would, they're gonna look super expensive, but just because we plan them out and kind of engineered them away, and it's like, yeah, but this whole half it's like not real, or you're looking at a forced perspective trick. It's every trick in the book to make this movie feel like, just some sort of big blockbuster, when we don't have a lot of money. So that's kind of the plan and the hope with it. Hopefully people will, respond to it that way. I just, yeah, if you're just a little creative, I feel like you can accomplish so much. And I just feel like people like, I don't know. We have all the tools at our disposal. Compositing is easier than it's ever been. It's like we have toy cars. It's like you can create anything, and you can do it real better than I could do it. Like if I were to do it in Blender, just with my backyard and photography stuff. Like I don't know. Yeah, the hope is it'll feel like a big blockbuster.
Especially now because we had this discussion about like gun safety stuff in movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, two movies I absolutely love are The Raid and The Raid 2.
Yeah.
There's not one real gun. They're all airsoft guns.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then we're still using, in America, they were using real guns. I'm like, why? Dude.
As a person who knows how to use a gun decently,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I see, and I get the other side of it. Like, because I photographed real muzzle flashes and I compliment all the time.
Yeah.
At Showdown yesteryear, I'd say about 75% of them are real, and the other digital. And hopefully you can't tell which is which. But having the real one there made it a lot easier to know what the fake was like. And then even the Wild Western, we had real blanks for certain things, but fake ones for other situations. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have any real blanks in Slash Squatch because there's no real need on this. Which is like I don't. When we're filming in the Western town, it's like, all right, they're here, like the people that run the town, they help us out. So it's like, but when you're photographing a tangible muzzle flash, it's better, man. There's just a spark will do some weird, like, and you wouldn't get that otherwise. And when you see that, like, I don't know, even with like a really good animated muzzle flash, we'll see in movies all the time. It goes slow mo. We see like the most beautiful animated muzzle flash ever. It's not impressive. I don't know. It's just because it's like a screensaver or something. It's just like it's neat, but like I don't know. When I see real fire and chemicals and things reacting, my brain goes, "Well, it's something primal in us. It's older. It goes, oh, fire!" Oh,
yeah, well, believe me, yeah. I've been raised around guns my entire life, and I love going out and shooting.
Yeah,
and one of the things is that I have filmed stuff with real guns. Literally, the only person there was me.
Yeah.
Because I could put that in.
Yeah. And I've talked about that. It was like, if we need to, it's like if I need to punch it up and do something a little more impressive, it was like we might, take some of these key actors who would fire a gun at a point in the movie, and I might have them, because they're my friends or whoever. Yeah. Some of them, like, if I can trust it, I'll take them out and we'll get some really cool shots of, they'll be glorious, and nobody will know. But yeah, there isn't a real necessity to it, but it does add something. You have the ability to. So like I don't know, you can argue both ways with it. Like I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. Real explosions. That's such a lost art. That used to be the cool part of your movie. Damn explosion at the end of that movie. It was serious. And now, they're almost always digital and stuff. And it's just like, an explosion's really not that hard to do. And they can do them and say, they've been doing them forever. Like you can do them safely and stuff. And, it's instantly impressive. And if you photograph it in a cool way, like.
I got to spend a weekend at a horror convention, and the guy set up next to me was a practical effects guy for movies and TV shows. He's done like Banshee, he did Walking Dead, he did like a bunch of stuff for AMC, he did some stuff for I think HBO and whatnot. But he blows stuff up. That's like his normal day job.
Yeah.
And he's telling me, he goes, there's a truck where they're supposed to be driving, and the truck blows up and it folds and then lands like this. So it tacos.
Yeah.
And they're all watching it back from their truck, with all their explosives. And he's like, crap. It's not supposed to do that. And then he goes, here comes the director. He's like, shit. He goes, the director comes up and goes, that's awesome. How did you do that? And he's like, oh, well, we did. And he goes, I don't want to tell him we did it by accident. He's like, but that's literally my day job. I blow stuff up in movies and TV shows. And, there's still people that do that. I mean, it's not all just CGI, but yeah. And like you said, it's who would ever think to make a truck taco in
Yeah.
CGI?
Miracles happen, and
Yeah,
I've,
and it,
I've I've definitely said this before, but like even if you're watching a terrible movie, if there's a cool stunt in it, like even if you're not into the story whatsoever, there's an involuntary human response when you watch somebody get hurt, and it pulls you into the process. So
Mhm.
just watching a cool stunt, it engages you with the movie in a way that when you watch a CGI ragdoll, it does not. My brain just goes.
As much as I don't want to like him, but Tom Cruise, when he does the special effects, you're just like, this guy's going to die one of these days.
Yeah, no, the commitment to the craft there must be respected.
Uh,
Yeah, he's unmatched. It's yeah, I'll go out and see every Mission Impossible. Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's like
I'm not a big.
I want to see what the crazy shit that he did this time. Like,
I'm waiting for that next one. Was it?
well, I don't even think it's Dead Reckoning Part Two now.
No, it's
I
not. Yeah, it was now. I think Dead Reckoning Part One is taken off, so it's now just Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and I think the next one's going to be
so
So
it's that it needs to finish up with that. It's like I enjoyed the first part of it. I'm sorry it didn't make any money, but like yeah, I hope it picks up. I hope they didn't screw with the story here because I
well,
need the second half to that.
see that's okay. I got to ask you because we've had this discussion a lot lately. Because I am a guy who likes going to the theater, but I'm also now there's so much going on in my life. There's a ton of stuff that I don't get to go see movies as much as I used to. And now stuff's streaming a month after it was released in theaters.
Yeah, not even sometimes.
Yeah.
You're
And
still making millions of dollars, but you now you're announcing that it's on streaming the same day. Like, way to go, Paramount. Uh, um,
you
yeah,
know,
like you're still making $3 million a day. Why are you putting it on Peacock or whatever?
so
Paramount
but
Plus.
we have that discussion because it's getting to the point now where less and less people are going to theaters. And if they go, it's got to be really a special event, something that's completely different. Like Godzilla minus one, because everybody
Mhm.
wanted to be reminiscent of the original Godzilla movies. I went; it was fantastic.
Yeah, I
Um,
think people just want story. I think people just want. I mean, one, there's also a lack of, I think, creative movies coming. I mean, for the last 30 years, we've just, and it's what we're buying. I mean, our, money means everything. So like, everybody's proven to the studios, hey, we want more Fast and Furious. We need more, Spider-Man or Batman. Not to talk bad about any of those franchises, but just, the franchise filmmaking is what we've proven to them what we
yeah,
want. And so, but it gets old, man. Everybody's tired. Like, you come up, but every time they do try something new, I mean, sometimes that doesn't work either. It's like I think The Creator was a really cool movie, but it didn't, make any money, sadly, and that was kind of inspirational the way that was put together too. It was like, wow, look, filming real things, like it felt like a real movie, and so, but tangible movies. So it's like it's still obviously the big superhero blockbusters are making the money some of the time. Those are even questionable now.
yeah, because
And then it seems to be real tangible, things that like, oh, your dad wants to go see that, so like, Ferrari or Ford versus Ferrari or I don't know. I was like, some of these examples didn't make money, so I guess,
yeah, well,
I guess, but
it's
like Top Gun, I guess, is a great example. Like,
yeah,
and they're selling people on all the practical effects, but they're still like 90% or 80% digital movies. So
yeah,
it's like,
and it's that's just because one is it took forever for us to get the sequel,
yeah,
and sometimes that can bite you in the ass, or sometimes it can help you because if people wait too long, no one cares.
yeah,
Or they care just enough for everybody to be like, I remember I used to love Top Gun,
yeah.
and they'll go see Top Gun.
Well, and I think I mean it's also just something with stories. I think too. It's like that movie. It's not heady at all. It's not saying anything about really, like anything. It's like no, these are people that have to do their job well, otherwise they die.
Yeah,
And it's like that's
it's
enough. And it's really good. Like everybody can relate to it. It works. It's it's a crowd pleaser.
yeah, it's
So and it functions. It's just a good movie. So
yeah,
it's like word of mouth is still the best thing, and that's kind of the hope for Slash Squatch here too. It's the way we're planning on releasing it. It's like I've got movies on streaming, and I'll never see a dime for them and stuff. And it's like okay, so like I want to try to do something a little different. And so what we're hoping with this one is a kind of theatrical roadshow tour like a nationwide one. Hopefully, we'll do it for like a year. But yeah, we're just trying to go city playing like revival house theaters because I have like 5 of them here in Portland, and I go see, like every week I go see some 80s horror film on 35 millimeter or something.
That's what's
It's
fun.
incredible. And every time, 200 to 400 people, just packed audience, and they're selling merchandise and everything. It's like, the audience wants this. People want that theatrical experience. And also, when you see a movie in theaters like that, when people laugh, like the movies work. I go see the Blob 88 or whatever. Like when people are laughing at the jokes or trimmers, whatever. It's just like, yeah, this does work. Like, and see, I don't know. I don't think anybody really has any idea of what's going on right now, and especially with the streaming thing. And they're all just kind of hoping, like, oh, but it's like I don't think. I think the bottom line is people aren't remembering movies the way they used to. I certainly can't, and it's like that's my whole job is to. I can recite like every line of Tremors, but like for some reason I couldn't tell you what the Gray Man is about. That not to talk like not a specific example. I haven't seen that. But I'm just like whatever, just big disposable giant action movies these days. Like, they all kind of feel identical, and maybe that's because like the same stunt crews and we're working on all of them, and the same special visual effects people. I don't know, but the movies just feel disposable, and it's sad. It's like this is my my life, this is my thing, and I hope people take it as seriously as they want to.
It's one of the ones where we look at it, and my sons are in their 20s, and me and my son Joe talk about movies all the time, and we really kind of sit down and try to figure out, why did this movie's great? Why did it not do well? One that I get crap for because I absolutely love it is John Carter.
Yeah.
The Warlord of Mars. And I was like,
Prince of Mars or whatever.
Yeah, it was Princess of Mars. It's based on the first book. And but I think the problem was John Carter. Like you got a great name, Slash Squatch. That's pops. You want to go see? You want to go see Avengers, or do you want to go see John Carter? Go see Avengers, man. What the hell's John Carter? If it had been like Warlord of Mars. People would have been like, "What the hell's Warlord of Mars?"
Or even just call it Prince of Mars.
Like, Prince of Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would have been a cool. Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
but yeah, it's. I think was it movies by committee is what I've been told.
Yeah.
And instead of looking at somebody and going, "Hey, I don't think this name's going to work," can we pop it? Can we bump it up a little bit? No, that's what marketing has said that we should go with. And you're just like, is it? It's a bad name.
I've also seen it the other way, where a director has a name for a movie, and they're like, no, we're calling it Horror Ship, but it's the movie's called this. They say the thematic thing of the movie is the title that I've chosen, and then you'll see them just call it generic, Liam Neeson and whatever example Traffic. Here. Yeah, Traffic, and it was like no, but this was a character study about a man going through, and it was called Reaper, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, you'll see him just call it the most generic thing. So it's like who knows? I've seen it going every, it's complicated.
It's just like you said, and especially since you're now, you're doing this, mostly by yourself. You came up with the script. You've done all this. I mean, yeah, you've still got your crew and whatnot, but you said you worked on this name forever. Like you had
sat on it. Yeah.
Sat on it, and I think that's the problem is that not enough people have a name or a title that's just stuck there, and they're like, yeah, I'll eventually make this movie one day, and then when they finally do, they're like, somebody goes, you should call it this, and you're like, why would it call? Because that's what we market. No, it'd be like going Slash Squatch. We're going to call it Small Town Reckoning. The hell does that have to do with a Sasquatch?
Yeah. Or most of the time, it'd probably be the other way. The movie's called Small Town Reckoning. It's like, all right, we're going to call it Slash Squatch, and we're like, to try to make it more marketable. But
watch one called Portals, like a month ago. Guess what's not in it?
A portal. Wow.
Portals.
I, but again, there's a little bit something to everything. It's like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite movies is called Sorcerer, and there ain't no sorcerer in it.
The freaking movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The where they gotta get the nitroglycerin.
yeah, that's the
That
best.
that is one of them white knuckle movies, man. And you're just like when you're
Yep.
going across that rickety ass bridge.
Oh my god, that's like one of the best sequences ever for the film. Yeah, and again, just photographic things, and yeah, that movie's so tangible. It's
Yeah,
it makes me sweat watching it. It's
yeah.
like,
You're watching. It's like that truck will fall off that bridge. That truck is
yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
it's
I've
like
seen it like 10
watch
times.
that and like After Hours and some Safdie Brothers movies. You'll have like a panic attack. Do a stress long day, featuring just all the stress movies.
It's when it's there. It's actually real. It's they're
Yeah.
trying to drive that over there, and you can see it and you can feel it, and it's and there are movies that still hit me because like they photograph really really well.
Yeah.
I can't get my wife to watch that movie. Fall, I think the one where they're up on the big tower
Oh yeah. With
and the ladder breaks off.
she's in Shazam. Grace something. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
I like that actress.
yeah, and my wife can't watch it because she just watched the trailer and was like,
Yeah.
no, no heights. It works because they're actually. I mean, I don't think they're actually that high up, but they're
Yeah.
actually on a set, to make it outside. But yeah, and yeah, we ramble on about this stuff. Tell us about the Indiegogo that you've got going coming soon.
Yeah, so I mean, currently, there's a few premium packages on our website. We also just have merchandise, so anybody can go buy a hat like this one or good one, or a few other simple things like that. Shirts like this will be available on the Indiegogo, but they are also available just on our website. We have some premium packages there, and we're running kind of a sweepstakes through August 31st, where depending on which package you buy, you get more entries into getting killed by Sasquatch in the movie, as well as there are just some producer packages where I think there's 3 to 5 available where you pay it'll be a pretty penny, but you can guarantee your spot to get killed by Bigfoot, and it'll be pretty darn glorious, and you can help come up with the way it happens too. I mean, it'll be by axe or by whatever Bigfoot means, but it'll be pretty yeah. So we've run on that, but yeah, come August, we are going to run an Indiegogo campaign. Yeah, just to try to pick up extra funds for special effects, and just to try to take care of our crew because again, we're shooting this over a couple of months, which is uncommon, but the hope is we're going to get something very sleek and polished out of this that kind of looks far bigger than this.
Well, it will, when you got the budget and you have the time, you can really work it and do something cool with it. I hate to say this because I've seen some movies that I love that were filmed in like 7 days, but it's
I've shot movies in 9 days. Yeah, it's like
but
it's like that's the majority of what I do. So this is a luxury, and honestly, we're like, are we going to optimize this time good enough? Like, what are we doing? Like, it feels so odd for all of us because we're just running around
how
doing
many
like
days?
combat videography and just crazy shooting a movie in 10 days or 11 days, whatever. And so yeah, it feels a little odd, but I think we're gonna come out with something that hopefully resonates with an audience and will
And
last test of time.
where I know I'm going to put like I said, put the trailer and stuff in this. Where can people find it online?
Yeah. So if you go to slashsquatchmovie.com, or if you just look up Slash Squatch Movie on pretty much any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So yeah, we're on there. The Indiegogo again is going to run through August, I believe, and then we are going to announce the winners of the Sasquatch killing, whatever you want to call that, sweepstakes thing. Like I think September 15th, and we'll probably do that from a live stream on set. What else? Yeah. October 2025. Trying to come out with it in theaters somewhere near you, some big city near you, and then eventually, hopefully somebody will pick it up and it should be on streaming and DVD and stuff. But you on the Indiegogo, you'll be able to pick up DVDs and stuff, and they're already available in our premium packages. But we're gonna put some of those on sale and stuff in August, so should be a little bit more price friendly, we'll say.
And for those who are trying to win spots on, this will be East Coast shooting or West Coast shooting?
Kind of depending on where you're at, might depend on which one you go to.
Okay.
So if you're on the East Coast, you're probably shooting on our East Coast shoot. But we're shooting like the movie theater massacre. There's a few set pieces here on the West Coast. So, we'll have a bunch of opportunities wherever we're at.
So you in the mountain central.
This movie is all killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler. There you go.
So we got, there's ample opportunity to kill people.
Nice.
So
Nice. A lot of people are dying in this, so just
yeah.
get your turn.
And we might even run some more opportunities or something.
Nice.
So yeah.
So, all right. Well, man, it's been a blast talking to you. Like I said, this should drop Monday at 12 noon. We'll get that all up and double check, send me links, and I'll make sure that I'll put the stuff in the when I edit it on Sunday. Have it all ready for you.
Awesome,
and,
man.
Do you have any other projects you're coming up with, or is this the only one holding your time right now?
No, I mean, I'm currently editing another movie called The Wild Western. I have to kind of be done with that like by the end of August because I have to have that locked by the end of August because I'm shooting Slash Squatch September 1st. And honestly, I'm going to probably have to finish editing the last movie on the set while we're building the set and stuff like at the end of August, just because, we have to build so much stuff. We're destroying a small town.
That's crazy. That's neat, though, man. You get to destroy a small town.
Well, hopefully we can have you get out to the set or something. It's not too far from you. We're kind of shooting in Western New York, so and then yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, sorry, but yeah. I mean, if not, we'll definitely be playing Cleveland or some area around there at some point. So
yeah, we'll get you back in Columbus like we did with Showdown.
Yeah, yep, 100%.
Yeah, cool. So, all right, man. Well, I'll let you get back to editing, and I'm gonna get back to editing because I got to work on my other show. So,
actually, as soon as I get off here, I've got a scheduling meeting for Slash Squatch about 20 minutes here, and we're going until midnight. So yeah, it's it's crazy. I'm scheduling 3,000 miles away. So yeah, it's
believe me, I just did my convention, did my podcast, still ran my store, still took care of my family, and tournaments and everything else. And about this week is the first time I've got to relax since probably the end of May.
Yeah, I'm looking maybe mid-November I can relax a little. That might. So
then you go right into Christmas. You're like,
yeah, no, that's what it's looking like. So.
So, all right, man. Well, you have a good night, and you take care. And I will see you soon. And when you get closer and get ready more, maybe we get some of the actors or something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. So, thank you so much for having me. And you're awesome to talk to, man.
Great person to hang out with, and hopefully, maybe see what we can do. Maybe I can get over there. We'll figure it out. So,
all right, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, peace out. Thank you so much.
Later.
Sheriff's office.
It's Donnie Thatcher. There's some big ass animal outside my house.
Okay, Donnie, now I'm gonna need you to calm down.
There was some fella pounding on my door, making my doors go nuts.
What do you mean?
Fucker came out of nowhere.
Donnie, I need you to calm down and stay inside away from all the doors and windows.
What is going on with these lights?
Donnie!
Get someone over here now! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Donnie, are you there?
Listen, the sheriff is on his way. Donnie, are you there?
What the hell are you? I'm dying!
Thatcher, it's Sheriff Blake. You in here? Donnie! Donnie, you better not be strung out on your juice again. Slippery Christmas! Honey, what the hell are you doing? Linda, this is no animal attack. This is a goddamn homicide.
What? What are you talking about? What do you mean?
What the fuck, Doc?
Blake!
Seriously?
Yeah, sorry. What the shit? This is so not good.